Wake up the tissues a bit, get them used to our touch, feeling into what's tight, just building a little picture, not trying to solve it. Oh, what's happening here? Are you sliding down the bed?
I think I'm sticking to the bed.
Okay.
And that's what the resistance you're feeling.
Okay, right now I'm just going to stay here for a moment. So the whole inner border of my foot is very connected to just that line above the shoulder blade here. And I'm just spending a little bit of time exploring that line of tension. When you do a stretch yourself or a yoga thing and you feel a line of tension in your body, it's the very same thing. I'm connecting to that line of tension in his body. And what I'm doing is I'm just working with it, easing off it, not focusing so much on the tension, but focusing or tuning into how can I get that to soften, how can we bring fluidity, release, and a little bit letting it feel how that connects up to the neck. And then I will slowly release that side and I start to compress, just lengthen. I'm just going to give that a little hug. So I often bring my feet around the front here because it's the same foot. I'm taking it all with me. Now it's a bit tighter here. Nigel would attest, wouldn't you, Nigel? A bit tighter here. I'm going to give it a little bit of mobilization. And a jiggy, just because that's what it feels. And just to see. Sometimes you have to play around with what does this tissue need to soften and release? What does it need? And then we have some tools that we can use. Some of it is like just a little bit of rock and roll or sliding into it and slowly lengthening. Some of it is a direct stretch. Sometimes we might have to bring it back before it releases. Just all those ways in which we can start to move our feet around now to the front. We have this kind of seesaw, which is just lubricating and getting everything to slide and glide. And we can stretch a little bit. We can give a little bit of harmonics, which I call jiggy, which probably isn't great. I don't think we'll use that in the recording. And then, sustained stretch there. And you're looking for, something has changed when you feel like maybe heat's coming off the tissue. You can feel a pulse, or you can feel a softening. Or you can feel the breath come in. That's often an indication. Come back. Okay, and I can take my feet away. We didn't do this one, my feet are there. And just bring the hands in under the head. It's the next bit really that's kind of. So again, I'm at the base of the cranium in the suboccipital space. You know where that is? Yeah. So I might need to come in a little bit closer. That's it. Just under there. And I'm also using my feet and I'm just feeling for where the line of tension is. So as I slide one shoulder down, you can feel where the tension barrier comes into the neck. So I stay there. Play with it a little bit. Play with rotating the head. Again, like we're oiling a lock. It's looking for just what we can do to bring more fluidity, more movement. This is quite nice actually. I'm quite happy here. Snoring already. Okay. Slide the feet out. Now you don't need to use the feet, it's just a nice way of engaging the feet in the work. And we'll come in here and do the same thing. First practice, we'll do exactly what we did the last time. Is the listening. So I'm very relaxed, my elbows are supported on the mat. So there's no tension in my arms and my hands there's a firmness, but they're also soft. My hands are soft, they're non-doing, they're listening hands. Thumbs just behind the neck. Web of my hand is spread. Some fingers are turning in towards the sternum, and I have to move my hand so that the palm of my hand is cupped over the shoulders. And these are quite bony areas, and all I'm doing here is just sinking into my own belly, feeling for just that groundedness, and then starting to, from that place, I can start to extend my awareness into what's happening under my hands, and the bones are floating, and just feeling into, you can do this at the beginning, you can do this at the end, also just the quality of motion. And my hands are really melted into the tissues, so I'm moving with the tissues. You know, it's like I'm feeling how the bones are moving in the water. Okay, from there I can follow that motion, I can just start to come just along that ridge from the neck, nape of the neck, all the way out along that trapezius muscle. So we're also making contact with a lot of acupoints along that ridge also. Yeah, somewhere along there you'll find, often on the right side, there's a gallbladder point there that seems to be tight in a lot of people. They're connected to liver, gallbladder. So it can be on the left, but quite often it's on the right. So anyway, there's lots of points here. Finding now, and then we're very careful because this is a great point for also reducing blood pressure, but if someone has very low blood pressure, you don't want to knock them out. Someone with very high blood pressure, it's really good to work at this point. And I'm feeling into the resistance in the tissues and just waiting for the tissues to invite me in. Spending a little bit of time on this trigger point. Not going in for the kill, but just slowly waiting for the invitation. Feeling for a softening in the tissues. And going deep. Continuing my journey out. Following that line, we're following that ridge, just coming all the way out. So we're going between the acromion and the spine of the scapula, right out to the edge there. It can often be a lot of gritty, you can kind of just do a little of that, a little acromial mobilization there as well. There's often a lot of stuckness between the acromion and you know, that little space, that subacromial space there is often quite tight, so this is really good for doing a little bit of mobilization there. Okay. Nigel asleep? How quickly?
I'm kind of half feeling that. Right?
And remember, we just made the contact with sinking into the tissues and giving it a longitudinal stretch. So widening the space between both shoulders. Releasing that, coming in a little bit, just imprint into the tissues and give a longitudinal stretch out.
So you lean in and then slightly bring the hands away from
Sliding them out, fascial stretch, sliding out. So you're not going as deep as you would with a trigger point, you're just making the connection of the tissues and sliding out. You can do it with the hands here.
That's it.
Standing up.
Pressing first.
So now it's just easier for you, you can kind of just come over the shoulder, feeling where your hand wants to sink in, and then come to the other side. Nice little seesaw. Coming over. Just nice widening in.
Now you can bring your hands a little bit more up also.
Up.
Here.
Yeah, just in the nest, in that little bird's nest there between the roundness of the shoulder socket and the armpit, you can thumb in there now. Just getting more specific. I still do a bit of this. It's quite delicate tissue. Remember also we're kind of taking some skin flex and rolling in to compress so that we don't create any nervy stretches. And then I'm coming, I can sit down again because I'm going back, and now I'm going to work this line between the collarbone and the space underneath it. A lot of muscle attachments, deep muscles from the neck insert onto this second rib all the scalenii, which are often overactive in respiration. So we can release, really sink the breath just to releasing this space. So I'm in the space, and I'm a little dip. You slide off the collarbone into the dip. You see? The rib is there, but just if you have on the bone, just slide off the bone and you land in a little valley. Yeah? And here I'm making contact with the tissues. You probably find that on one side you can go deeper than the other because often there's a rotation, there's a rib rotation. So I'm kind of more interested in where my thumb doesn't want to go. Actually, I'm just kind of stay here, wait for it to soften and let me in before I move out. So I'm just going along in that space, finding the dip, and I can give a little bit of downward pressure if I want, but the pressure is not going perpendicular. I'm just kind of sliding those ribs, creating space between that rib and the collarbone. You do a lot of good work here. You can invite your receiver to really open up the breath, bringing the breath all the way up, lifting the collarbones with the breath, bringing it up into the apex of the lungs.
Side at a time.
Yeah, going back and forth.
Yeah. Always
Let's
like
see what seesaw.
Yeah, that's it. Elbows heavy. It's a kind of like a seesaw because what we're doing is we're soothing the body. We're going quite deep, but it's just very soporific. It's very like for the receiver to receive this kind of gentle undulating movement. It's very receptive for their nervous system, really. There's nothing like it. And the pressure is very delicate here. Especially if you're going down. We'll do the sternum tomorrow, we'll come into more the heart tomorrow. But you can just start to make space. I'm in between the spaces, between the bones, just making a little bit of space between the ribs and those intercostal muscles. And then just coming back to doing a bit of palming along the area. So palming is a kind of a broader sort of touch. Feels nice. So we do a bit of palming, and then if we feel there's something that we really want to go deeper into that feels just like more specific, we can go in with the thumb.
Palming's nice to warm up and also to bring integration.
Yeah.
If it's a female now, how far down do you go?
No, we're already doing here.
Just
We're already doing that. We're
just
not going down
just
further than
here.
that. We're coming around. Again, just coming back to the shoulders. Okay.
Women love this because it's really good for them,
We know.
Yeah. They do, when I do it on women, they love it.
Men love giving it to women and women
Yeah.
love receiving it from men.
Okay, so now we're just coming to integrate the head and the neck with the arm. So yeah, whichever side.
Oh, that feels great, Susie.
Good.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
So thumbs are just
I'm afraid to go too
below
far.
the wrist.
And you fell asleep there for a second.
So anaconda, just getting a nice little. You can take that into where you want. Just getting some nice growth, like a very nice thing to do as an exercise is magician's hands. Getting all the spiral movement. Bones of the arm want to spiral, so we're just introducing some nice little rotations, spiral motions into the joints here. Getting a nice stretch. You can come down. Just getting that, like you say, if it's resistance, you can give it a little bit of a shake. Okay, then we go further stretch, get a nice contact. I like this contact like that. So I'm getting the thumb as well. I'm listening to what's happening at the thumb in the other hand. And I'm just going in for a little stretch. So I can feel what's happening on both sides of the wrist. And it is wanting me to go into this stretch, but that's just from the listening. I'm feeling into the wrist. Sometimes I'm sliding my hands a little bit into the fascia. So what I'm doing, I'm assisting the opening with my palms. Just because my hands are there, what can they do? My hands are there. If I'm doing fascial stretch, I'm sliding, hooking into the tissues and sliding. So you're doing a lot of good work there. I want to shake him again there. I'm into the elbow. Sending my awareness into the elbow. You're right there. Just not interfering with the recording now. All you can hear is your moans.
Sorry.
What are you talking about? And now I'm just doing it again. That's because how I feel. You just start to listen in, and it starts to. It's like learning how to dance. Once you have the choreography, you'll just get more fluid with it. It'll get more sophisticated. That's all. Well, you need the choreography first. Into the shoulder now, and I'm giving a little gentle stretch into the shoulder because I already have him on his knees. So
It's not a gentle stretch.
No, I was going to say that.
sorry. Okay.
It's okay. It's good. I think I need it.
I don't know. I don't know if you do. But anyway, look, I think that's quite irie here, isn't it? A bit
Well, very
sensitive. Irie kind of. I just think you've torn a little tendon in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's grand. It'll just take a few weeks, but it's inflamed in there.
Yes.
So here, look, that's it. It comes from you're like pendulating. So now that's a nice move, but let it happen. Let the elbow be heavy, let your elbows be heavy, relax your shoulders, and let that pendulation come in. So it's more, that's it. Start to, that's good. So look at the way his elbow's just going, very, just to let them, and again, often with the shoulder, people can't let go, they don't know how to let go, they've never released their shoulder, and you're then just coaching them, saying, just allow the breath to flow. Feel the heaviness of your bone, just allow your breath to flow. Yeah.
And relax your hand, moving.
Yeah, just
That's
release.
up and down, more front and, no, that's the back.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Like a
This is
pendulum,
like a
that looks
swing
good.
of the elbow.
Can bring it up here. You can track for where there might be a bit of resistance here. Okay, just feeling that.
You're trying to do
Then you
it
can
with
get the
things,
hand,
just leave your hand up.
bring a little bit more. So here now I'm doing some liberation with the bones. Remember that what we did with the leg? Where we were just moving with their leg? We were doing this. Here we're doing it, we're bringing our hand. Sending away, allowing it to come back. And feeling again for the valleys or the tension. That's it. Just down there, just along, getting into moving the bones more actively, coming up onto that shoulder ridge, getting onto the bones. Yeah. Just getting behind, mobilizing the bones there, and then now in front, into the shoulder nest. Just feeling for the spring, looking for the spring.
So you send away, but it comes back to you.
Yeah, boing, boing.
Boing, boing, boing.
Okay. Now, and then we bring it across the body a little bit. That's also another stretch. But what we're really looking for, palm of our hand anchors into the shoulder blade. Fingertips on are on top of the spine of the shoulder blade, hooked in there. Then I turn the palm out, let it rest, and I'm hooked into the shoulder blade. And then my other hand is on the shoulder,
Palm facing up.
palm facing up. So I'm making a sandwich between the shoulder and my hands. And I'm using my weight, I'm just sinking in, giving pressure into the joint. This is how joints like to release. Just again, that little trampoline, like I'm looking for the spring. Where is the spring? Where in the center? See if you can find, it's a difficult one now. So just where inside is the focal point for the tension, and then release. Don't worry too much about that, it's just that. And release. Then, once I've done a few of those, I'm going to keep my top hand where it is, and I'm going to slide my hand down along the shoulder blade and out, change hands, da da. So now I'm just palming and seesawing. Staying with the shoulder a bit because I'm lengthening. Now I'm trying to create an integration, all these fascial connections. We started with the shoulders, we connected the head, now we're moving down the arm, releasing these deep fascial lines that come from the chest down to the arm.
So when you go to one side, you see how this comes up a little bit.
Coming down. Again, just getting your palm head into the fleshy part. If you're over flesh, you're doing well. It's like you pull the flesh over the bone and then you give deep pressure into the bone as well.
You're like a little cap.
Otherwise it can be quite sore. Not over the elbow joint.
No. We did it one time. Granny John's mom had 18 cats. They're all
Down
down
into
to
the-
around with one eye and two legs. And yeah.
Then you can give it a stretch.
Yeah, I
Shoulder
know.
to
There's
body.
a little farm cats. Right. They're reasonably the creatures.
And with your hands are not just doing hands, they're also sensing and listening for what direction do I want the stretch to go in. You can't really prescribe that. just knowing that it doesn't matter. Okay, it's nice to know anatomy, but when we're dealing with fascia, fascia is everywhere. Like, you know, just you're feeling for a line of tension, however you feel it. Palms face out. Finding maybe places where you might want to spend a bit of time. Tell me.
And then if you lose it again, you can come back to this. You start to see. So I'm looking always for where that line of tension comes. To help me see where could I work more deeply.
And there's a difference between thumbing and just compressing tissue. What we're doing is we're kind of looking for that like little sponge. We're trying to get the fluids to move, so we're pressing into the sponge and then releasing. So this thumbing, you don't want to.
It's another little spring.
It's another little spring. Come down to the hand. Get your baby fingers into here, like this. Oh, I'll wait for you. To look.
Maybe there.
And here. Yes. You can sit down for this if you want. Move over in the bed now.
Sorry.
And then I'm just, using my weight, just opening up this space. Anyone with carpal tunnel, any kind of arthritic things in the big tongue, you know, it often is a really good way of. And again, the movement is coming from my own body. Again, this ignition that comes from the pelvis, really, that helps sort of attune to what the rhythm is. So I'm giving a little pressure, and if there's often you'll find here, I'm feeling this with Nigel's, just the tissues around his femur eminence, where the thumb knits into the hand very tight. There's no feeling of sliding, so I'm just going to wait there until I feel, now I'm feeling a pulse and some fluid, and I can slide a little bit more. Great. I spend a lot of time on that. And we'll turn over. You can also do this little traction. Get the wrist and just lengthen out. All the way out.
My nails are never this long. I can't feel it.
Do they crack? Do they?
Yeah, sure they do. Sometimes. Oh, there you go. There's a crack.
Up to the fingers. Nice. Nice for all the lines. This is the one. Okay, and then palm is facing down. We've stretched it. Nice contact. And then we'll do the outside of it. Off the joints. You're above the wrist or below it, above the elbow or below it. You can be on the shoulder because we're nesting down to the shoulder. The shoulder is a joint that likes compression, but you wouldn't go directly into the space of the elbow. It's a bit sore. You can go just adjacent. And again, it's very good around the elbow.
That outside line's nice.
Yeah, coming here, just around the large intestine 11, which is a great point for getting rid of inflammation from the body, according to the shiny great big book of everything.
That you could study for your whole life.
Yeah.
We're learning just as much how to flow with our own body as much as we're learning the technique, yeah? This is part of the technique.
Always coming back to that. Just where am I in myself? You know, don't get lost in the tissues. Don't lose yourself.
Don't get lost in the issues.
It's actually received. It's like in the Taoist tradition, they always say it's a very light touch. Because we don't want to smother people either. If we're really fully focused and deeply intent on doing something, then you know it can really shut something down. We want to be casual, listening to the birds singing in the trees. Yeah, as we're working. Really feeling and sensing and letting our mind always come back down so that we're in contact with our legs, our pelvic bone. Difficult to hold our attention there, we're just not used to it. We've never been taught it. So it's a bit of an ask. Okay, very good. We're just going to do that on the other side. So I think we can pause the camera. That's probably enough.
Thank you, Susie.